Instagram doesn't want us to be great. I don't know what's going on. Let me see. It's weird. Hey, Brandon. I don't know what's working.
Is
Yeah, it's working
it
now.
working?
Hey.
Yayo. Am
Yeah,
I
yeah,
upside
you're like
down?
sideways. There you go.
Well, fix that. Hold on. Also had an
No
excited
problem.
dog who saw two treats. What are you working on
Um,
there?
well, it's the piece that I'm gonna be painting while we or working on while we talk, and then you'll have to do it when we
Okay.
finish. Yeah. Okay. Well,
Okay.
thank thank you for
I
joining
dig it.
me.
Yeah,
You're
thank you
welcome.
for having me.
Yes. Okay. So Brandon has been my friend for a very long time, since I was like 14, 15 years old. He's one of my good friends, brother. He's also like a brother to me. So thank you again for joining us and tell us more about you.
Oh, well, thank you for having me again. It's cool to be on here. I'm excited about this. I was telling some friends we're doing this sort of thing tonight, and I'm excited about it. I'm not going to be
Oh, that's
painting
okay.
along with you. Sorry, it's a little bit too much. Waylon,
No worries.
there you go. But yeah, it's cool to be here. It's fun to be here. A little bit about me. So abstract painter for the most part. Um, I really don't know like questions here, like how to do this
Well,
any of this sort of
anything you
stuff.
want to share with us is fine, but I'm going to ask you 5 questions so we could get to know you a little better before we start the interview. Just quick questions. So, like,
Yeah.
okay, what's your favorite
Okay.
color? Hmm.
My favorite color? Ooh, well, right now apparently that's pink. It seems to be, which is funny because like I've never been
Hmm.
into that color before, and then now it's like hot fire. And it's extremely funny to see that like the Pantone color of the
Hmm.
year for 2023 is the Viva Magenta or whatever it is. It was like called it, saw that coming. So it's kind of cool to like work with that and like see that color and like the vibrancy of it and the energy that comes
Yeah.
from the pink color. I'm just really
I,
feeling it right now.
I always hated the color pink when I was growing up, but now, yeah, now I'm
People
really
say
starting
that.
to like
Yeah,
hot pinks and it's really like
yeah.
neon and fluorescent colors. Like I'm really starting to like that. So it's interesting.
My buddy,
Mhm.
27 Roads, he picked up a bunch of like fluorescent colors and he's been working with that and like sharing some of what he's doing with that to me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling that, dude. I'm feeling everything you're doing with all the fluorescence. So that's kind of the mood I'm in right now. Is like
Yeah.
those kind of bright colors. See what's going on there. Sorry, I've got Waylon again, who's just like
Oh,
chomping at
it's
the
fine.
bit for the next treat.
It's fine. Hey, Waylon,
He's here. He's here.
what's your
Come on.
favorite food?
There you go.
What's your favorite
I'm
food?
sorry, what's that?
Hmm.
Favorite food? Oh man. Well, that's a tough one. I'm gonna have to say my mom's mac and cheese is probably one of the best ones out there. You can't really mess around with that. That's one thing that's like I'm actually a little bit upset with my sister right now. She portioned out post Thanksgiving, like who had what, and the macaroni and cheese was real small. And I was like, yo, like, what are you doing here? What are you doing? Get to sit. Thank you.
Fill in. I'm gonna
Go on, bring the
fill in
questions.
this blank. Thank God for blank.
Hmm. Hmm. I don't know. I'd say thank God for community. When I was looking over the questions you sent
Mhm.
over me tonight, or for tonight, the overall arching theme I saw with it all was community. And I was like, thank God for community. Thank God for. I know one of the things you talked about was value. We
Mhm.
want to talk about tonight. Um, and so within that, I find a lot of value within the community, the friendships that I have, the folks out there who support me
Yeah,
and who support the art or arts in general. I find that amazing, and so again, I thank
yeah,
God for that.
me too. I don't know what I would be without my friends and extended family for real. So I'm definitely thankful for community for sure.
Hmm.
Okay.
I know I owe you. I gotta send over to you
Oh,
two pieces so we
yeah,
can
for
collab
sure.
on that.
Definitely,
I
yes. I'm
apologize.
looking forward to it. Yes. If
Nice.
if you were an animal, what would you be? A ferret?
A ferret,
What?
easy
Why a ferret?
ferret. So like in my youth, we had these neighbors in
Uh-huh.
Buffalo who had ferrets, and I was like so like enamored with these like animals. They were like horrible, but at the same time, I was like, these things are amazing. And then it was like some animated cartoon once upon a time where like the ferrets like fought the snakes off and like did this whole thing. And I was like, yeah, go ferrets. And then on top of that, um, a lot of what I draw with my art
Hmm.
from is a lot of classical stuff. So the Lady with the Ermine, that painting, I really feel that one. She's like, you probably know it. She's like holding the
Yeah.
white ferret. And with that one, I was like, oh yeah,
Okay.
I'm feeling that too. I'm
All
feeling
right.
that.
Well, I can understand then. I mean ferrets are pretty cool. I just always seen them as like I don't know. I guess they're pretty cool. I've just seen them as like big rats. Like, but I guess they're pretty.
It's a it's a big rat that fights snakes.
Yeah.
You gotta fight them off. What would you be? What would your animal be?
I
Sorry, I
would.
gotta jump
I
in.
would. It's
Who
fine.
wants to be in
I
my
would
lap?
want to be a giraffe. A
Oh, I'm
giraffe.
sorry. What? No, being tall is overrated. Trust me, as someone who's tall, it's overrated.
Either that or like a crane. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You get
Yeah.
flight. That's cool. I dig it. I dig it. What are you
It's
working on
you
tonight?
gotta
What
wait
is
and see.
this?
We gotta talk the whole time, and then when I show you, you be like, this is
Okay.
what I want
Okay.
to call it. That's that way.
Okay. I dig it. I dig it.
Okay, I got two more questions, and then we'll get started. So in the morning, the first thing I do is blank.
First thing I do in the morning is just continue to sit there with Waylon and kind of think about not getting out of bed that
Yeah.
day. He's a big part of my life, and so we start our mornings together, and then followed shortly behind that, I reach out to one of my best friends,
Hmm.
Todd, and say good morning to him. That's kind of my
Hmm.
ritual. Say good morning to those folks again. We were talking about community. These are the folks around me that I cherish. First off the bat, Waylon, and the best friend, and then on from there.
Yeah, it's really important. It's good to have those people around that you could just hit up in the morning, like, hey, how you doing? It's good to see that you're still alive. Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And the last question, I feel like the color blank. What color do you feel like today?
What color do I feel like today? Hmm. I don't know. Probably orange. I'm feeling a lot of like energy and a lot of like good things happening. Um, had some folks over yesterday. It was a good time, and just feel a lot of energy. It was funny after they left. I worked
Hmm.
on the easel here, to say like get that energy out and put that
Yeah.
into canvas in some way, So I'm feeling bright. I'm
Good.
feeling good.
Yeah, I feel like a magenta, like yeah, like a magenta. That's like
Nah,
yeah.
there you go.
Okay, so we're gonna get started. Thank you for indulging in my questions so we can get to know you a little bit more. So we're gonna be talking about value and just appreciation. So why do you
Yeah.
think typically, well, for me, most this is from my experience, why does it typically take the worst moments in our lives for us to ask new questions?
Mm. I mean, those are challenging moments. Like when you're going through something like
Mm-hmm.
so hard like that, you're bound as a human being to ask like new questions, like what's going on, what is purpose, what is life, what is it
Mm-hmm.
you find happiness in, and so I mean I feel like that's just a natural thing that we all go through. Is see how what way works best for us to get through that, and then to learn from
Mm-hmm.
it, grow from it, accept it, what's going on, you know, and then take it for the next steps from there. Take it from next steps from there. Sorry,
Okay.
dyslexia.
I understood what you meant. Yeah, I definitely think you're right too. It's just you get well for me, just get to a point where it's like, okay, well, I'm tired of going through this. Let me
Mm-hmm.
figure out what I can do differently. It can't be,
Mm-hmm.
it can't be that I'm going to different places and experiencing the same thing. Like it has to something. There's a common denominator. So if I got to figure out what's going on. So you're
Mm-hmm.
right. I guess it's just the natural thing to just ask those questions. I'm just wondering. Well, I guess you couldn't even formulate those questions at that time because you hadn't gone through the thing. I guess.
Yeah, you could always speculate on how you would feel in that
Yeah.
situation until you're actually in it to understand. Okay, this is what it actually feels like to be in
Mhm.
here and what's going on.
Yeah. So with all these new questions, why do we tend, again, this is just me, like why do we tend to just ask disempowering questions, like instead of being like, you know, what can this teach me? Where most of the time it's like, well, why is this happening to me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's this jazz artist that I let's try listening to. She's got a song
Hmm.
called "Why Is Everything Happening to Me?" But it's kind of funny.
Wait, what
But
is that?
I feel like they're all
Hmm.
challenges. Like, why do these things happen? Why do we go down
Yeah.
this roller coaster, if you will, and deal with all of these challenges? But I feel like it's all to make you the better person on the
Hmm.
other side of it, which is a bit cheesy to say. I agree, but I think that is true. Where it's okay, you're going through
Hmm.
this, that, and a third, but at the same time, it's all forming you and molding you and making you into who you are. Sorry, I got a dog again. He's in here. He's involved. He's got FOMO, big time FOMO. Anyway, so yeah, all of that. It's what we're going through, why we feel these challenges. That's not again. It's all
Yeah.
natural. It's going to happen. That's who we are. But again, I told you from the jump, it's all about community. It's
Hmm.
who you have around you. It's this dog who's, we're not kissing faces. We're not doing it. And you have this community around you who's here to support you, who's here to help you, who's here to encourage you, and in whichever way and form they may will do. Accept that. You know, I someone asked me once about my art, like how does it feel with your art to people's reactions to it? And I say I really don't care if you have a good reaction, bad reaction. It doesn't really matter to me. What matters to me is if you have any reaction to it. You know, so it could be that I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit of a tangent here, but it could be that's like, okay, I'm feeling it, will like this. Other folks here in between, but it's all about what you're connecting with that person. When you're making a work and you're saying, okay, let's say for instance commission work, which I've been doing. Oh my God, he's punching like crazy tonight.
No worries.
Sorry, I apologize. Super fighty over these biscuits, milk bones. So with the commissions, it's like, okay, I'm working directly with this person, trying to achieve for them what their vision is, what my vision is, and
Yeah.
those two in between. The one I just delivered last weekend, one of my favorite pieces. I just got photos tonight from the client. They're like,
Wow.
here's the light for this one, and I'm like, it's so good. I feel bad because it should have delivered a little bit earlier, but I wanted to keep it in the house for a little bit longer to keep my own eyes on it, but it happens. I'm sorry,
Like,
tangents.
no, I was.
Next
That
question.
goes into my next question. I want to know why you became an artist.
So this is funny. About 10 years ago, I watched a Gerhard
Mm-hmm.
Richter documentary, and then was like, yeah, I could do that. Yeah, it's fine. Like everybody says, but never actually did it. And then about 5 years ago, actually decided, yeah, let's actually start doing this. Let's do this. But I don't know what that
Mm-hmm.
catalyst really was. I think just with our own family, going back to mom, her being like
Yeah.
the top artist and passing that down to the rest of us. We're
Right.
all trying to catch up, and getting that passed down and just having those moments where you just want to do something, you just want
Mm-hmm.
to create. You know what I mean? Like with me now, it's like I come home, I just want to create. You know, I'm taking the bus back to the house. I'm like, yeah, I can't wait to get home and like start
Right.
working. You know, but what made me become an artist, I really don't know. I don't know. I think back seventh grade or so was doing
Ooh.
like architectural drawings, terrible architectural drawings with like aquariums in the center of the house that were like 40 feet
That
long.
sounds cool.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. All these terrible drawings. Yeah, it sounds cool, but it's terrible. You don't want that. But kind of growing from that, it was funny because used to live in Panama, and my teacher there had me drawing like
Mm-hmm.
natural sort of things. But I lost all of that coming back to the States and started drawing more architectural, and everything was like straight lines. My curves became straight lines, which is kind of like a release now as an abstract artist to say, okay, I've released all that architecture from me, but at the same time, I still do see structure and these sorts of things like within the paintings, even though they are
Yes.
abstract, if that makes any kind of
Yes.
sense. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's a combination of my mother, my family, and just amazing art teachers along the way. Miss Traitwick,
What grade
so
did you
good,
meet her in?
so good. That was probably
Mm-hmm.
fifth to sixth grade. Yeah, just saying to expand your mind and like what you're doing and what you're working on with your art. Really supportive.
Hmm. Wait, say that again. I'm sorry. That last. Say that last part
I'm
again.
sorry, what? Just these people around you who are being supportive of your work and like in your early stages when you're coming up, they're saying like, what you're doing, um, we like it, we enjoy it,
Yes.
keep going from there.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of people. That's interesting. I think I really started honing in on my art and stuff like in sixth grade too. I had a teacher named Miss Audala, and she
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't let me erase anything in class. Like we had to take the erasers off.
Why do
No
they hate
erasers.
erasers? They hate erasers. I'm like, I'm gonna erase this.
She's
This
like, no
is
mistake.
not good. But these teachers in the early stages, they hated erasers. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
or
I mean,
use that
I
eraser?
definitely use the eraser now. It's my best friend. Because, I mean, in later classes, they're like, oh, yeah, use the eraser, use the shading eraser, use all of this. So I don't know why they teach us
Hmm.
that early on. I guess to show us mistakes can be turned into something good, maybe.
I don't know. So I feel like a lot of my work is in moments, like this one behind me. Like there's various
Mm-hmm.
moments within that, but I always have this kind of fear I'm gonna cover it over when like a stroke of the blade goes over it and that moment is gone. There is no eraser. You know what I mean? So I kind of work in this world where you don't have an eraser. You can only create
Yeah.
from that. So I think those teachers were wrong. I think that you should leave those marks there because those marks should stay, and then you draw on from what's that and see what else
Yeah.
you can create.
Yeah. And even when I teach
Yeah.
kids now, I tell them don't bring the eraser or take it off and change it into something else. So I think that's pretty cool.
You teaching?
Yeah.
I'd do that.
Like little kids. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. It's fun.
Nice.
It's real fun.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
Yes. So,
Mhm.
okay, why do we're talking about appreciation, appreciating life. So why do you think we have to sometimes almost come close to losing our lives to be like, okay, we're actually worth something?
Mm. Well, I think that's like a special case sort of situation. Um, I did lose
Hmm.
life for a little bit, and come back from that. And I don't think it's an appreciation that really comes from it, but it's more of a understanding,
Hmm.
if you will. It's like, okay, this is where
Hmm.
things were. We're just going to be the same, but better, if you will, if you can say for that. I mean, for me, I know the questions you had for tonight is like, how did
Yeah.
that change me? Um, I don't really think of that it did change me so much as I'm more invigorated within it now. Yeah, there are some health things that you may pay attention to. Yeah, more
Hmm.
exercise, like all of us need to do. Uh, all these sorts of things. But I've been still like the same person I am, but I just feel like it's more pushed to the next level a little bit more now, especially with
Yeah.
the painting, is to get those out, is not linger so much on that, not be so disfocused and be scatterbrained and between all the different
Yeah.
hobbies, all the different irons of the fire that I'm trying to manage. It's like, okay, this is the one I would like to see most succeed and grow within because I feel like I am mostly succeeding and growing within this
Yeah.
aspect of what the hobbies I do and feeling that passion within that because right now it's yeah, that was a crazy moment. Um, Getting over that now to say, okay, here's what I want to see
Hmm.
next out of my life, like next phase, next chapter, if you will. All right, here was the cliffhanger, but now we're into the next chapter of saying, okay, here's our hero going on with their story, hero going on with their story. You're the only
Right.
hero of your own
Yes.
story, so you know your own
Yeah.
protagonist.
And I totally agree. I honestly feel like I've had quite a few life or death experiences at this point where they've all pushed me to be like, okay, remember why you're doing all this stuff. And like you said, I feel like it's a sense of urgency now. Like I have to get this out. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
not a day that I can go by without drawing or writing something that I just gotta get it out. And now it's to the point where I feel like a lot more a lot more that I'm allowing everything to align more because I'll go to sleep and dream about something and then get up and draw it. So it's like
Hmm.
Before, I would just try to ignore that and be like, okay, well, it's too much stuff to go on that's going on for me to focus on what I really want to do. Like, I can worry about that later. I can do that some other time. But these things that have happened in my life, it's just like, bitch, there might not be a later. Like, so you need to do it now. Like, you need to do it now. So,
I was joking about Whaley having FOMO, and in a slight sort of way, I kind
yeah.
of have FOMO too, but mine is more a bit introverted than his, especially. But yeah, there's these moments where it's like, you don't know if you're going to have enough to get all this out.
Yeah.
So just go ahead and do it now. Just go ahead and do it. Oh man, I'll have a surge between all the different hobbies, all the
Yeah.
different irons I mentioned in the fire, where it's like, let's surge on, let's do this. Like, a lot of folks know I'm a big geek guy, so like the pressure of like, oh, the guys are gonna be here on this date. I need to have all these miniatures painted and all these things done and the whole thing set. So it's a little bit of pressure. Or like a client will have like, hey, here's our target to have this done. We're trying to have it back. We're like, let's see
Right.
what's going on there. Luckily, I've had some wonderful, wonderful clients who've been like fantastic and really patient with me as I go through my process, like trying to understand, like creating the works. Um, it's been pretty cool to kind of see like the community around again community of just like I'm gonna work my way through what your vision is, like give me your color palette, three colors, whatever it is, and I'll work my way through that and evolve it and see what it may look like. It'll take time, but so far it's been pretty fantastic to see like the results of all of that. It's you know hearing their responses, how they feel about these things, whether it be like you know an early work I did like 30 minutes and worked on it, or something that took like 9, 10 months to like work on. It's cool to see like those feels and that energy
Yeah.
between the people, and the friends,
It's
and the
always good
yeah,
to meet really cool people through your art. Like, I feel like if I would have started
yeah,
painting, I wouldn't have met half of the people that I know now. It's
yeah,
really like genuine relationships and just people that I can call on, like in New York or Atlanta or whatever.
nice,
And I never even physically
yeah,
met them, but they'll call me or
yeah,
they'll text me and be like, "Oh, how are you doing?" Like, that's pretty cool. So yeah, and
yeah.
it's
Yeah, I'm feeling that. And like I was feeling that back when I was at the cottage, when it was like the early
hmm
days of doing all of this, where it was like, all right, trying to feel that energy from a distance. I know we had
yeah.
pandemic and all those things that were keeping us apart, but now like being back in this area, being in Alexandria, to like go to Delray and go to that sit in there, bring my works there, and we get like live
Oh
critiques on those
yeah.
things. That's amazing. And like seeing other people, other folks' works in person like that too. It's a whole new world. I'm very excited to see like more of that sort of community growing within.
So okay, looking back on just before we might have had these difficult experiences, right? What
Right.
did what what would you have done differently now? Would you have changed anything? Would you have got to this point earlier? Like just appreciating yourself and all that?
What do you what do you mean on difficulties? Like what do you mean
Like
there?
just certain well for me, just certain hangups, like struggles with sitting down and just actually working on your craft or actually putting things in front of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Making it a
So,
priority.
mhm.
Store the craft. Well, right now this thing is six
Yeah.
feet, so it takes up a lot of my living room, and I can't help but stare at it and look at it. But so last night,
Mhm.
had some folks over. We're celebrating our friend's graduation, and immediately after they left, I felt drawn to the canvas to get that energy out. So like finding that energy within yourself to say, okay, this is the moment where I want to take to put this down when you're in those feels,
Yeah.
you know, if you so say, like to take those moments and like take that energy and transfer that into your craft. Other times there'll be times where I will struggle, where it's like, what do I really want to work on this? I'll tell you right now, there are three works that are in the bedroom that are across from, so I wake up and I see them constantly. And it's like a thought of like, okay, eventually we will work to that, but it's also kind of prioritizing, if you will, like where your energy is at. Which ones are you feeling the most? Like right now for me, it's working on this one, the magenta, getting the background done so I can then work on the foreground. At the same time, for the last 2, 3 months, I've got an all black Anish Kapoor, blackest black in the world, sort of thing that I have sitting there. And there's yet also an oil painting, which I don't do much of, and I have that also sitting in the bed, and they're all kind of like staring there, and they're looking at me, and I'm looking at them, and kind of feeling and bouncing back with them. But it's got to be when that energy is right to work on that piece, you know. I'll say with the magenta one behind me right now, there are 6 other ones over on the table that are smaller, but they're also kind of the practice pieces, the working between that, and finding the energy to like spread all of that
Yeah.
can be difficult. But when you commit yourself, and I feel like a lot of myself right now, especially within this last like 3 weeks, has been
Mm.
recommitted back into the craft and spending that time, paying that attention, like setting everything aside and saying, okay, let's stop scrolling so
Yeah.
much. Let's stop, you know, yeah, you'll post everyone when you're feeling something, but just focus yourself down into what you're doing and with what that craft is, and I don't know, we'll you'll see, and hopefully it's good things that come from it. But that's kind of where I'm feeling right
That's
now.
really interesting that you said that because I've really been just, like I said, just been thinking more about, okay, why am I doing this? How can I make this better? Or am I really focusing on what I should be? Like, is this going to matter in a couple of weeks or even a
Yeah.
couple of hours? So I might as well, do what I can and work on this art. So when, let me ask you this. How do you, with your pieces and just deciding which one to give the energy to. I know sometimes for me it's hard to just allow myself to just be me on the canvas. So how do you that inner critic
Mhm.
and just keep creating?
Yeah, that's tough. Like I said, there'll be like several others off to the side that I'm also kind of working on. Like which
Right.
one gets the energy, right? For me, it's like, okay, how much paint's left on the blade after I'm done? I'll go touch and do ones for the others and kind of
Mhm.
balance it a little bit. But it's which one are you feeling in that moment? Which one? I listen to a lot of music. I got the headphones or earbuds in now. So I listen to a lot of music when I'm creating, and so which song am I feeling? Which music am I feeling?
Mhm.
Which one am I throwing on repeat? And which work am I going back to repeat in
Yeah.
that moment? You know, which one am I focusing in on? And just kind of just letting yourself flow, letting yourself be within that, and decide free flowing between all of it. It sounds very hippie, but yeah, be free flowing within all of it. I mean, I feel like the magenta behind me is super daunting because
Mhm.
it's so large, but yet I make it feel smaller by working on some of these other works where I'm practicing kind of there for what things will transfer here and these energies, like make it flow
Yeah.
between all of each other.
That yeah, I'm starting to do that a lot more too because I noticed when I was in school, um, it was a lot easier to be in the flow because, like you said, it was just bits and pieces of little, things, but at
Mm-hmm.
the end of maybe 3 months or 2 weeks or whatever, I would have this huge piece because I, worked on this part, and sometimes it's just really tough to be like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and do this one and give this one that attention. So I guess I'm just asking, like, how do you just manage your time better? Just make sure you're being the best. I guess it's just trial and error, huh?
Managing time is tough. I mean, I get
Yeah.
exhausted all the time, like all the time. It'll be a long work week or whatever. Whenever you're doing like multiple things at once, like if it's just all I was doing, yeah, it would be different. But I've got day job, I've got
Right.
everything else going on in my life. So how do you manage that time? It's just committing to it. Is this what you want to be doing? Is this what you want to be creating? If you do,
Right.
then go do it. If you want to be making new works, if you want to be pushing forward in your creative endeavors, then just make that time for it and actually go ahead and do it. Yeah, I get distracted like anybody all the time about everything, but I try and at least focus at least 30 minutes or more a night to try and like sit down, like feel what's going on at
Hmm.
the canvas, what's going on at the easel, and just focus that time in there. If I mean, if you don't, you're only serious about it if you're doing it. You know what I mean?
No.
If that makes sense. So like get out there and actually be pressuring it, be doing it, be
Hmm.
practicing always. I don't pretend to think that even this one will actually turn out to be the most fantastic thing I've done. It's just practice towards a further step. And the only way you do that is by dedicating time to it and continuing forward
Yeah.
with it.
That's it. You're right. It's all about just deciding what you want. That's I was having that conversation with Rob today, and then I've had that conversation with Christina recently as well. You know, just uh, about my art, and I'm great at it, but nobody's gonna know I'm great at it if I don't take the time to talk about it and show it, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So
Speaking of
yes,
showing, are you
yes.
thinking of showing
We
anytime
got
soon?
I got two more questions for you, and then you can name my piece. I'm not done though, but I'm gonna show you so you can name it. Yeah.
Okay.
No,
I
I
don't want
want you
to
to
name it.
though. You have
Oh,
to.
not until I send you the ones I owe
Okay,
you. I owe you
okay,
two, so you can tell
that's
that
fine.
one. Fair? You send me that one, I'll send you these
Okay,
two, and we'll work that.
I'll at least show you what it looks like before, Okay.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
we're talking about being grateful. Do you think that helps your mental health at all? Just being grateful and being present? Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
definitely.
The gratefulness I have for everyone and everything in my life, it's pretty like my character on here is the guy that his mind is blown, and that's like how I feel about like all the gratitude I have for
Yeah,
so many people in my life. Just kaboom, kaboom. I love it.
yeah. You're right. There's a song by Patti LaBelle, and I know everybody on like all my closest friends say I have an old soul, but I do. There's a song by Patti LaBelle called "When You've Been Blessed." You should listen to it if you're into that type of music or whatever. It's not. It's but it just talks
Mm-hmm.
about just just being so blessed. And every time I hear that song, I just start crying because yeah, when you think about like this is great. Like you could be gone.
Uh-oh. I think it's
Good,
breaking up.
good.
Hold on. I think it's breaking up.
Oh,
Oh,
I
everything's frozen. Oh
can see you though.
no.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's everything's frozen.
Okay.
So I
All
guess
right.
we'll just go
All
from
right. Well,
there.
I just asked you um one more question. So yeah, like what would you advise to people
Mm-hmm.
who are maybe having like the worst time in life right now? They can't seem to get a break, and they can't really find anything to be grateful for. What would they do? How they could look at life differently?
I heard a
Okay.
bit of that
What
of
would you?
like
Can you?
what um for like it sounded like it was like what advice could you give for folks who are feeling like in the worst kind of moments, like what they can do to help release from
Yeah,
that? Is that
like
is that what the question was?
how can they look at life differently and actually appreciate themselves and what's going on?
I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
tough. It's different for everyone. Like what it helps to bring them through and come through from what they're dealing with. I can only really speak for myself, but again, it goes back to that community and having those folks around me who were supportive. When you wake up in the ICU and no one's around, you have to like wait a whole day until you really find out where, or later in the day, where your people are and who those people do show up and who's there. I mean, it's that community. It's just having those folks around you, relying on those
Mm-hmm.
people you know will be there. Um, if you when you're down, it feels like you have to fight for yourself sometimes. But yeah, reach out to those and grab on and get that support, get that lift, get that. I mean, I was watching football earlier when the quarterback goes down. He's like his hands go up. It's like some lineman or someone is helping them back up. And there's always that person to help you back up, and it's
Right.
finding who that is and cherishing those people around you.
Definitely. You're right. Yes. Thank you. Can you see me again or no?
It's a
Okay.
little bit choppy, but
Well,
no, I got
again,
you.
thank you so much for this, Brandon. I really appreciate it. This was awesome. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, this is great. I'm sorry it didn't work well, but we'll change that.
And
We'll do
okay,
that for the
can you
next one.
see if anybody out there wants to help him name it real quick? Can you guys see that a little bit?
Take suggestions
Yeah,
on names for
we'll
now.
take an intermittent name, I guess. Anybody have a suggestion? I'm gonna hold it up for like 2 more seconds because it's kind of heavy.
I was trying to move this big thing around the show the other night, like how I put it together in the back, and my friend was like, "You don't need to be doing that." I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna show you. Will. I need to show you." I'm
I
proud of
really
it.
like it.
I'm
I
very
gotta
proud
see
of
the
it.
rest of it. I think I seen a piece of it in a picture, but I want to see the whole thing because I know it's huge.
Yeah, it's coming together.
Okay.
Well, I'll send you one.
Okay.
Sneak peeks,
Cool.
previews.
Yes. And I look forward to getting those pieces. You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
And yeah, so everybody enjoy your holidays. I'm gonna take a break for holiday Christmas and community. I like that. Community. Thank you. I like that. That's what I'm gonna call it until I'm gonna get to
Yep,
another name. I like
yep.
that. Keep to community. Thank you. Les.
Hmm.
All right.
All
Thank you
right, thank
guys.
you.
Everybody have a wonderful holiday. Love yourselves. Love everybody around you. Until next time, peace, love, and paint. Bye.